Remind y'all that Melania, the First Lady, a model, and when I say model, I'm not talking about Tyra Banks, Cindy Crawford, or Naomi Campbell level, applied for and was given an EB-1 visa. And what that stands for is an Einstein Visa.
Although I guess if you spend enough time standing next to Donald, anyone starts to look like Einstein.
It was a scene familiar to anyone watching Washington. A contentious congressional hearing where immigration had once again taken center stage. But then, Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett decided to play offense. She pivoted the entire debate away from the border and onto one very specific immigration story.
And Melania, real quick, not everybody could marry Donald Trump, and I think that's quite an achievement. So I think she deserves credit for that. Nobody up here could have done it.
You sure right, I couldn't do it.
New questions about Melania Trump's immigration status when she first came to the U.S. The Associated Press reporting she didn't have the proper visa for her modeling work.
I came here on visa. I flew to Slovenia every few months to stamp it.
If that's accurate, it would mean she had a type of visa, possibly a tourist visa, that needs to be updated periodically. But that type of visa does not allow working in the United States.
Then there's the question of merit. The administration championed a move towards an elite system, favoring those with extraordinary ability. The visa Melania herself used to get her green card is the EB-1, nicknamed the Einstein Visa. It's reserved for the top of the top tier. Nobel laureates, acclaimed artists, groundbreaking researchers, and in this case, a fashion model.
Let me tell you how you receive an Einstein Visa. You're supposed to have some sort of significant achievement, like being awarded a Nobel Peace Prize or a Pulitzer, being an Olympic medalist, or having other sustained extraordinary abilities and success in sciences, arts, education, business, or athletics. Last time I checked, the First Lady had none of those accolades under her belt.
That moment in the hearing wasn't a one-off attack. For Congresswoman Crockett, the questions about the First Lady's visa weren't just about immigration policy. They were a clear example of a much larger issue she has consistently highlighted. A pattern of what she argues is a rules for thee but not for me approach at the highest levels of power.
And now we're just getting some of the information. Now you contrast that with what we see the Republicans doing. It's simply a matter of them bending the knee again to Trump. It is the cult-like mentality that we see that is becoming pervasive in this country, where they say that he's our ruler. It doesn't matter what he does. He can violate the law. We should just ignore it. We should not ignore it. We have never accepted this from anybody else. And the only reason we're facing a crisis right now is because he wants to act as if the Constitution doesn't apply to him. Well, I have news for him. If he wants to be in this country where we believe in a democracy, then he needs to abide by our laws as well as the Constitution.
And importantly, she places the responsibility not just on Donald Trump, but on the Republican Party itself, accusing them of enabling a standard for their leader that they would never accept from a political opponent. It's a powerful accusation that attempts to reframe the entire political debate. Is the law applied equally, or does it bend for the powerful? For Jasmine Crockett, the answer is clear.
The idea that Trump and my Republican colleagues want to restore integrity and security in the visa process is actually a joke. Let me be clear. Integrity is not snatching lawful visa holders off the streets and throwing them into unmarked vans. Integrity is not revoking visas based on social media posts that hurt somebody's little feelings because kids decide that they want to go after Trump or this administration. We have a thing called free speech in this country. And since we're talking about integrity, I'm confused as to why my Republican colleagues aren't talking about the lack of integrity when it comes to the president's family's visas.
That's not a late-night show punchline. That's a sitting member of Congress calling out what she characterizes as a system where integrity is defined by deporting individuals for their Twitter use. And if that sounds outlandish, it's because it occurred during Trump's tenure. While MAGA leaders espouse protecting the nation, Crockett asserts they were busy perusing feeds for hurt feelings and yanking visas as if it were a trivial high school squabble. Her inquiry was simple. How can you discuss restoring integrity when the rules apparently apply to everyone but them?
So very interesting to me that, yes, we will say people are xenophobic, because when you start to decide that just because somebody came from another country, they are automatically some kind of criminal, that does sound kind of xenophobic to me.
Their integrity is snatching people with perfectly legal visas off the street in unmarked vans. Their integrity is canceling a student's permission to be here because they posted a mean tweet about the president. It's a classic bait and switch. They get you all worked up about some phantom menace, some caravan of criminals, so you don't notice the grift happening right behind you. As Ms. Crockett says, even the Pope can see their actions don't match their words. They'll talk about any crime, any threat, except for the ones staring them right in the face.
Last time I checked, there's a lot of people that are actually being grabbed as they are going in for their appointments. In fact, we know that one of the candidates that was recently running in this mayoral, he ended up being arrested because he decided that he was actually going to escort people that are actually showing up to their meetings. Or we know that the Pope, yes, the Pope himself, decided that the church may need to have people that are going to escort people as they're going into their meetings. Because the reality is that what they are claiming what they want to do versus what they're actually doing, the actions don't match up.
They want you to see an invader, not a doctor, not a builder, not a student, just another.
Are using a paintbrush to paint an entire group of people where the vast majority of them are coming here because they are actually seeking a better life.
And why? Why the constant distraction? Because if you look at what they're actually doing, you see what this is really about. It's about painting millions of people with the same broad criminal brush. It's about making you afraid. Fear is their only real currency. They need you to believe that everyone coming here is a threat, because if they aren't, then their whole argument falls apart.
With this reconciliation process, the travel bans and revoking visas jeopardizes our national security. It threatens our communities, our higher education, and our economy.
This whole crusade, this war on immigrants, it's not making you safer. It's a threat to the nation itself. They're not protecting you. They're gutting the very systems that make this country work. And it's not just some vague idea. Let's run the numbers.
J visa holders contribute $43.8 billion to the U.S. economy and support more than 300,000 jobs. And make no mistake, immigrants improve the health of U.S. citizens too. Despite the fact we already have a doctor shortage, Trump's reckless travel ban and visa overhaul are exacerbating this crisis by impairing hundreds of hospitals with foreign-trained doctors set to do their residencies here in the United States, meaning fewer people will get the help they need and more people will die. Now, let me remind you that Republicans are trying to gut Medicaid. Roughly 4.5 million people receive caregiver services through Medicaid, and most of these folks are in red states.
$44 billion into the economy. Gone. 300,000 American jobs. Gone. Doctors we desperately need, blocked at the border during a physician shortage. Caregivers for the elderly, who are mostly in red states, by the way. Most of them are immigrants. And get this, the U visas they want to kill? They're for victims of rape and human trafficking who help cops solve the most horrific crimes.
Republicans want Americans to suffer. Now, Republicans say visas make us less secure, but let's talk about how U visas, visas given to victims of crimes like rape, murder, human trafficking, torture, abduction, kidnapping, to help law enforcement with their investigation or prosecutions of these crimes. These folks are risking their own security for broader safety of Americans and our communities.
They're not protecting you. They're not making America great. They're making you weaker, poorer, and sicker. You have to look at this mountain of evidence and ask yourself, maybe that's the point. Maybe they just want Americans to suffer.